Good evening, lovely people. How good to see you. I'm just waiting to make sure my system is connected. And it has. Good evening, everybody. How lovely to see you again. I don't know why I've got a black background tonight. I just have. Something weird is going on. But there we go. I can't do anything about that right now. So here we are. Welcome to another photography lockdown challenge. It's been quite cool actually just watching your comments whilst you guys have been waiting. It really always blows me away that 75 of you good folks waiting, all saying hello from all over the world. Good to see those of you down in Australia getting up ridiculously early again. That is commitment. Thank you so much for being here. We'll just give it a moment. YouTube changed the way it works, so you may have noticed there was a different little weighty area going on this evening. That took me best part of yesterday afternoon to figure out how it works. Yes, pictures on the wall, Jane. There should be a little fadey background behind me out just beyond the edges of this black instead of a big black border, but I don't know why it isn't working, and there's nothing much I can do about it now anyway, because we're here. So let's have a little look. I've got my notes down here. Yeah, something I was really noticing this week, looking at some of the comments and pictures, is, you know, I've just been amazed and inspired by how some of you long-term PLDers, just watching you grow and evolve in how creative you're being. And the other thing which I found completely amazing is how maybe back in the early days, a few months ago, where, you know, one or two people were looking at the amazing quality of some of your images and saying, you know what, I just can't compete with that. I'm not going to bother anymore. And how you all rallied round and supported everyone. And I just think it's an amazing thing we've got going on here, and it's you guys that make that happen. So thank you very much. I'm really proud to be associated with this group. What was I going to say? What else? Oh yes, I want to give a shout out to Paul Tyzak. Congratulations, sir. Your PLD rules portrait image that you entered. How amazing it is to walk into someone else's house and discover that a picture you took for a photo challenge, they like it so much they wanted a big one framed on the wall. It's a great feeling, isn't it? So that's really, really cool. Good on you. What have I got here in the way of notes? Two little news flashes going on for you. I've got a new webinar up and running as of this morning, the choreography of composition, because you've got to move your body. So if you're interested in that, there is a link below this live stream. It's there already in the description. You can click that, or you can find it on the website. I'm blown away by this one because we only launched it, I think, at 9:30 this morning, and already there's over 60 people signed up. There's only 150 places. So if you'd like to join us on that, please do. You need to get your skates on. What else was I going to say? Oh yes, something else. Those of you who live within reach of London, earlier this year we were going to be running our Cameras Don't Take Pictures all-day seminar event, and obviously we had to cancel that. However, those that had already joined, we wanted to give something for them. So I'm going to be meeting just 10 people in London on the 5th of September, Saturday the 5th of September. Now, 2 of those people couldn't come, so there's 2 places available. If you would like to join us on an join me and others on an all-day photo walk, I'm going to be sort of delivering the seminar, but on the run. So we're going to go and do it live in London. We're going to go on a street walk, photo walk, shoot stuff, and kind of put the seminar together as we go. There's 2 places. I can't remember the price. I think it's between 120 and 150 quid, something like that. Send us a message through the contact page of the website if you would like to join us. Please don't do it in a comment below here or in the chat, because I'll miss it. Use the website. There's a link to the contact page again in the description below. I hope that a couple of you lucky guys can meet us, because it's always really good fun. And it'd be great to meet some more of you in person. It would be absolutely fabulous. So what have we got going on? I think that's all of my notes. I'm just checking that all my live feed is working, apart from the background, which is just really bugging me. And then I guess we can just get stuck into looking at some of your amazing images, bit of feedback. As always, I have just chosen ones that stand out and speak to me, and I've chosen ones which I just think the group can benefit as a whole from hearing a bit of feedback on. I'm going to be asking your opinions and your thoughts as well along the way, as usual. If your picture didn't get chosen, then it doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad picture. It just means I can't talk about all of them. And also, sometimes it's just a case of, going with what will be the best shot to discuss so everyone gets the most benefit. So let me just click into that one and get ourselves going. First of all, I think I just need to say to Nick Humphrey, nice try, mate. You've turned the corner. It did make me laugh. Nice try putting up my Ultimate Beginner's course there as your entry. I'm sorry, mate, you didn't get into the points with that, but you did make me smile. I just thought it was kind of funny, really. Brilliant. What else have we got? Let's get cracking. So, here we have Helen's shot. Now, I love the way all these different interpretations of corner have come in. It's also brilliant watching how, this creative thinking is evolving and growing with everybody, because, in the beginning it was like, well, how do you mean a corner? What does that mean? Well, it's whatever you want it to mean. This is all part of creativity, figuring out ways to interpret a theme. And I really like your idea here, Helen. I like the light. I like the way the light's coming towards the camera. We got almost a little reflection going on. It doesn't look 100% sharp to me, but that's probably about all I can say, really. I like the light. Maybe you could have been a bit stronger with the light, made those shadows a bit harder, got the light a little bit lower down, something like that. Just might have helped a little bit, but nonetheless, it's a really great effort. M.A. McDonald Rose, I kind of love this, because you know me, I love this sort of stuff, don't I? The idea of a child playing with some gravel on the corner of a gully cover. I just think it's great fun. For me, this is a decisive moment thing. It's just the way Charles' fingers are sort of curled. Now, you're probably going to curse me because I expect you were there for ages trying to get that little moment, but I think if we got a picky up moment, a reaching for or a dropping in or something like that, it would just make the shot just that little bit more engaging. But nonetheless, it's, I like the way you've shot it in black and white. I think that works. I really do think that works. Daniel, I like this idea. And I found it really intriguing because when I first looked at it, I just thought, needs brightening up a little bit. And it took a little while before I realised that that isn't actually a person, it's a little figurine. And I took the liberty of popping it into Photoshop and brightening it just for my own interest. I didn't actually bring it in here in the interest of time, but I was wrong. It didn't work better being brightened up. My only thought is, I don't know, would it be better if the figurine was turned the other way so the light was on the front, not the back? But nonetheless, you've done it very, very well. I like the background detail going on there. In my mind, I want it because it had the desired effect. How funny. Yeah, I like the background detail. I think it's a really good moody exposure. Congratulations on that one. Raju, I like your idea here. There's quite a few ideas similar to this with, playing around in the corner. We're going to look at a couple. And it's always a tough thing to do. I really like the way you use the light from the laptop or from the computer screen. It's done a really good job. You've got the exposure really interesting. I'm not sure quite. There's something about it which for me doesn't quite work. Now I get we've got a sort of an exasperation thing. What do you feel, guys? Just pop it in the comments when you look at this picture. How does that person feel? What I feel, and you don't have to agree with me, is kind of a bit overwhelmed, like, how am I going to get all this done, working late at night, that sort of thing. But somehow I just feel they're just a little bit lost. Now I am a negative space junkie, but I just think they probably are a little bit lost. David says it's a street feel. Mirko says it's a bit crowded, despair, stress. Yeah, I'm getting the despair and the stress thing, definitely. I tend to agree with you a bit, actually, Bear Clive, and one or two others who have whizzed past Moose Harper. I just think probably it could do with a little tighter crop. Maybe put your subject possibly a little lower. I'm not sure we need quite so much space below the subject, but nonetheless, good job on doing the lighting and creating that sort of moody, stressy feel for it. I think this one is really good fun. From Debbie. Debbie Lewis. I get where you're going. I like Mrs. Lewis. Faith Nursery School on the chair. I do think it's quite funny, and it brings back childhood memories for me. I spent a lot of my childhood standing in the corner, particularly when I was about, going to school age, right at the beginning. Really, really, you made me smile too, Heather. I think it's a great idea. Something about it doesn't quite work, and to me, I'm just wondering if it isn't actually the opposite of the last one. I'm just wondering, Debbie, if maybe you'd given it a little tiny bit more space and possibly again brought the camera up a bit so there's a bit of headroom, simply because this is obviously a very small child indeed, and I think that feeling of very smallness is kind of lost a little bit. I get it, the chair's in there which gives a sense of scale, but it's the feeling of small and in the corner which to me just seems to be, it could have been magnified a bit more if there was a little bit more headroom. Tilt that camera up a bit, move back a bit, or widen the lens just a bit. Love the lines coming in, by the way. I think it's a really great way to shoot it. I quite like the light. Yeah, I'm just looking at your comments to see what happens. You said light, forgive me, I read so painfully slowly trying to keep up with moving comments. Never mind, I'll move on to the next one because we've got lots to look at, and I know this is the juicy bit that we all love. So this is our friend down in New Zealand, okay, Gil. Another nice idea, and it's approached very differently, from a higher angle and looking down, and this has given a feeling of smallness, and I do like it. Okay, there's just one thing, I don't know if you're with us or whether you chose to get up at stupid o'clock in the morning. To me, it was just that kind of, it looks like you possibly used the clarity slider in Lightroom and probably declarified a little bit around the child. It's kind of makes that sort of dreamy look, and this is just a personal taste thing, but I've never really liked it very much. And I get where you're going, you're probably trying to get the focus onto the child, but I think the lines you've got in the shot are kind of doing it on their own, and I think they're doing it very, very well. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Moose. It kind of looks a bit soft, but I'm not sure if that isn't a reduction with the clarity in the post-production. I said Lightroom because that's the one I use, but I could of course be wrong. But overall, it tells a story, and I like the lines coming down to it, and I like the light. I'm just wondering what you did to that poor child to make her look so unhappy. Knowing Kay, you were lovely. Neil Harper, good to see you in person, sir. And I think it's a really happy, fun, I like that, sitting in the corner at tea break sort of a shot. I'm guessing it's a selfie. I think it could be a tiny bit brighter, my friend. That's all. I think just a little bit more exposure. You just look a little bit dark. Don't worry too much about windows going a bit too bright. It actually looks good. I don't mind if they burn out a bit, but this one with all that greenery, I think you could have gone quite a bit brighter and not had to worry a little bit about it. But I do think it's really good. You said you thought you had a bit of a white balance problem. Yeah, I'd agree. You've got a bit of a yellow color cast there. If you're shooting in JPEG, then it's one of those things where you just need to be careful. It looks like you've got tungsten light going on, but I don't know what white balance setting you were using. Auto white balance can be very good, or it can be really, really annoyingly bad. I would be inclined to probably, what would I do in this situation? With all that yellow there, you can either, if you're shooting JPEG, you would either have to set a custom one, just take a couple of test shots, change the Kelvin a little bit and try and lose some of that yellow to a place where it looks pleasing. Or if you were shooting like a raw file or something, then it's not a problem because you can just put your eyedropper straight onto that white mug, boom, it's color corrected, you've got the colors right. But yeah, it's a nice shot though. It's a nice shot. Compositionally, possibly just see a bit of that window to the right where it's cropping off just against the glass. Just be nice to see the whole of the frame. But other than that, I just think it's a really nice little selfie. I really do. And it's good to see you, sir. We know what you look like. Yeah, also, of course, sorry, I'm just reading comments while I'm looking down here. They told me to do it. They did me too. Yeah, you quite like the shot and the slightly out white balance. Exactly. Because it does give that feeling of being indoors. But I do remember looking at the comment, you said you thought you had a little bit of a white balance problem. But I don't think it's that much of a problem. I think it's pretty good. Who have we got here? Cheryl. Sorry, I'm struggling to read it again because I'll look down here now. I can see it. Cheryl Fisher. I think this is really cool. This is not an easy picture to take. I kind of get where you're doing the corner thing. You know, they're on the corner of the stonework there. I like the way you've done it in black and white. You've caught a little squirrely moment going on. And I think you've done it really well. Very difficult thing to photograph this. Being super critical. Squirrel's tail being cut off. I'm not so keen. I think it's either like a good crop, so the squirrel's just kind of like peeping in, or maybe not lose the tail. One of the good things to do with this is possibly shoot a little bit wider than you want to. Shorten that focal length just an teeny bit, because you can always just take a little bit off later on, but you can't put it back if it isn't there. But I think it's a really great little moment. I really do, but it's squirrely fun. And also I've just noticed in your comment you said it's your first post. Congratulations. There we go. Bang on. Look forward to seeing more from you. What have we got here? We have got Sandra Sim. Nice idea, Sandra. I do like it. I like that. Someone coming around the corner. I like the way you've been really brave and sort of cut their head off. I'm not entirely sure if the kind of tilty thing works or not, or whether it's just on a hill. I like it, but, and I'm not sure what the but is. What do you think, guys? I'm interested in what your opinions are. Yeah, I totally agree, George. The shadow is fantastic, and it has got a great feeling to it. Maybe a little bit more contrast might have helped, because the highlight exposure is pretty good. We've got a lot of shadow detail. I think you might have been able to sacrifice a little bit of that, and it would have given it more strength. It would have made the shadows a little bit blacker, but I really like it. And yeah, guys, I'm looking at your comments. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm coaching. I'm being your coach. Remember, I don't sit on the running machine and eat donuts with you. I give you a kick, particularly when you're good at it. The better you are, the harder I am. They told me not to do it. It says it's unnerving not seeing the head. Yeah, I'm quite up for crazy stuff like that, to be honest. I quite like some madness, cutting off heads and things. I wonder actually if you could have cut it off a little higher, maybe through the shoulders rather than through the chest. I wonder if that would have been a bit more edgy. But I do like the shadows. Long shadows in the evening are great. Straighten it up a bit. Yeah, I do wonder that one, Jim. And part of me thought, shall I chuck it into Photoshop and have a play? Apologise, Sandra, I didn't. This has been one of those weeks. One of those weeks. I partly dislocated my knee and then walked around for a few days with a lateral stabiliser on, and then I jumped up to reach something I couldn't reach because I was being lazy, forgot I'd hurt my knee, stumbled, and then went sideways over an aluminium frame. I've done a bit of damage to my ribs, so anyway, there we go. I still think I'm only 12. Look at this one here, Dawn McLean. I think I saw you arrive earlier and give us a wave from Ireland, so I know you're here. I like this, Dawn. I like the way you've got it framed. I like the corner sweep in the road, the way that road's cornering off and going down the valley. The way you've got the hills just sort of cropped in the sides. Really, really nicely done. I'm guessing you took this on a phone or something similar, and probably maybe it's quite an old phone, because looking at it certainly a bit larger, it's all a bit fally aparty and blocked up with the colours. And where that sky is very, very burnt out, I don't mind a burnt highlight. But I think it's just one of those things. I'm certainly not anti, I'm certainly not an equipment snob. Those of you who know me know that. I like the composition, I kind of like your idea. I like your little bit of foreground in the front too, the way the light's just catching it. It's a shame that those clouds, that sky's just so burnt out. But if you grabbed it with a phone, you grabbed it with a phone. The best camera is the one you've got with you. Ruggiero says it makes you feel like you're about to slide down. I couldn't agree more. Ah, there you are, Dawn. Hello. Yeah, well, you had with me. Great capture. Great capture. Just goes to show that, you know, you don't have to have a great phone to take a lovely picture. Unfortunately, this was just a little bit beyond the capabilities of what the phone could do. But good on you for entering it and giving it a lash. I think it's great. I think it's great. Let's move on. What do we got here? We have got, it's a really obvious corner from Sue King. I think your problem here, Sue, is light. There's a couple of things here. We've got that very, very bright sky and the shadows are almost straight down. Now it looks, forgive me, like it could be a rather dull subject, but I think it could have been woken up a lot had the sun possibly been lower in the sky, and I can see the shadows are sort of coming towards, so I'm not quite sure which way the sun was going. But if we could have had long shadows on that boarding, I think it would have looked great. And possibly if you could have zoomed the lens in a bit, maybe had a slightly longer focal length to lose that bright sky. And the other thing which personally I find annoying are the ducks. Hate ducks. No, I don't. I love a duck. But I just wonder if those ducks, you know, just waiting for that moment when the ducks weren't there, but possibly earlier in the day, later in the day, I don't know which way the shadows were going. I think it would have helped it immensely because it would have just kind of given it more shape, more texture. I just saw that, Ian. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Looks like it was taken around midday, 1 or 2 p.m. But I like your idea, good effort. And I think maybe you don't need quite so much of what's on the right. You could have probably lost a bit of that. Maybe we had a bit more of the water. If the light was lower and there's some strong shadows coming across the planking, I think that would have probably made it quite nice as well. And then also the colours would have been a bit warmer, a little bit more inviting. But very nice. Agreed, Dolores, agreed. Right, what do we got? We have got good bit of peeping going on. Do like a peep. So, Margie, I like your idea, and it made me smile. It did make me laugh. There's no question about that. It is cute. Right, guys, can we drop the sauce and the flavourings? The glazes, you lot. I love it. I like the idea. It's humorous. It's funny. It's a great little peepy moment. To me, the background is just slightly annoying. I like the brickwork, and I kind of like the higher angle because it's cheeky somehow. Our problem is your subject is a little bit fighting with the greenery behind. I'm not sure what you could do about it, whether you could get further away with a longer lens and possibly make the background softer. It's a tough call, this. It's a tough call. I don't know if you experimented with lots of different angles. Are you lot still talking about ducks? Pay attention or you'll be in trouble. You'll stand in the corner like me. I think it's a really good idea. I do like it. I like the lines in the brickwork. I like the positioning. It's just somehow fighting with what's going on behind. I don't know if you ever get a bit of sunlight coming in from behind, coming over that hedge, which could have sort of backlit a bit. I don't know. Good effort though. Good effort. And it made me smile. Pedro. Stop it with the ducks, guys. Come on, move on. I feel like I'm being a teacher. It's my chance. In the classroom, telling you off. Pedro, I like your thoughts. I like the way you framed it. I do like the way you framed it. The way you've used those sort of orangey bollardy things to frame your subject. couple of small problems. She's just a little bit lost. I think the parking sign growing out of her head isn't helping, and I get it. There's a lot to think about when you're doing this, because you're trying to get the right moment. You want her to look towards you, and you did that, but of course she looked towards you as a parking sign grew out of her head. It's not an easy thing to do. She's just a little bit lost in the background. One of the things that I think is kind of a bit of a distraction is there's a little bit of space either side of those orange whatever they are, which is kind of holding it open just a little bit. Shut the duck up. Right, stop it, you're distracting me. I think maybe if we come in just a little bit tighter on those orange poles. Time to pay attention, guys, because I've got a question for you. What do you think? So the shot as is, as Pedro shot it, where we got a bit of space either side of those sort of oranges, or I did have a little play in Photoshop. And I don't know, which do you prefer? So the slightly tighter, which I think focuses us more on the woman, or the slightly wider, which personally I think is a little bit distracting. So we've got that bright area on the left. What do you think, guys? Just pop a little thing into the comments. Just let me know what you think. Well, let everyone know. It's not about me. It's about sharing an idea. Yeah, you see, now this could be achieved with just the tiniest little change to focal length. Focal length and composition. Focal length is the photographer's friend. It isn't just about making far off things come closer. You can tidy up a composition like this just by giving this maybe 5 more millimeters of focal length of zoom. Boom, you could just sort of take it in like that, bring the woman a bit closer, just kind of lose a little bit of that stuff. Or of course you can crop it afterwards. I'm lazy, I like to try and do it with a bit of focal length. But it's a nice idea, and it's quite a nice little moment. And I quite like the orange cyclist. I don't know, originally I thought maybe he distracts, but I'm not sure he does. I think the thing that distracted was that white space to the left. But anyway, there we go. Nice shot, good effort. Here's something which I find intriguing. Susan Wally Cornell Horn. Coriel Horn, sorry. It's bigger on that screen. This reminds me of a photograph. I can't remember who took it. It was someone, you know, really famous, going back 1930s or 1940s, of a junction. I think it was in San Francisco, and it's kind of a really messy shot with, you know, street signs and traffic signals and all sorts of stuff sticking up all over the place, but somehow it worked. And I think you're onto a similar thing here. I kind of like it. It really does say corner of the street, doesn't it? You know, and I totally agree that the traffic lights belong. And I know it's complicated, and I know it's untidy, and I can see you've tried to separate the street sign from everything else by using a shallower depth of field. If it was possible to get it shallower still, just a little bit softer, personally I think it would have helped it. What do you think, guys? Do you think just there is a very soft blur on the background? I just think it might have helped if it was just a tiny little bit. I'm just looking at your comments here. Main Street USA, absolutely, that's exactly what it says to me. It's great, it's great. Maybe just a little bit, if you could have used a slightly, you know, wider aperture, or moved back a bit, made the lens a bit longer, that might have helped, so you can still see the same composition. Because if you can stay within the infinity point, and the infinity point is further away with a longer lens, you usually got more chance of creating a blurry background. If you're not sure what that meant, see if you can join me on the Focal Length Explained webinar at some point, because we go into that a bit. But good effort, like it, Susan. I like this one too. This is, I don't know if you're here tonight, Tom Oswald, boss of ClickerSnap, who's decided he's going to teach himself more about photography. But again, it really caught my eye, because the first thing I thought was, has someone photoshopped out a bit of the field and then just put it into place? It's eye-catching. It did make me stop and look, and then it took a long time, because, as I say, I try not to read descriptions and things like that. Then I realised that she's holding a mirror. I think that's a really great creative idea. Yeah, indeed, Jenny, it confused the crap out of me too when I first started looking at it. Yeah, she's holding a mirror. What a great creative idea to create something eye-catching and just a bit wacky. Let's say originally I thought someone had used a rectangular marquee in Photoshop, copied and pasted it up and sort of put it where her hand is. Yeah, good stuff, Tom. I think there's things you might have been able to do with it. I'm not sure about the arm over sort of glamour pose so much. I think it might have worked better with a more structured sort of square on, slightly odd. Maybe if she was sort of holding the mirror out to the side, possibly almost like she was leaning on it. I think that could have been pretty cool. Maybe, you know, leaning on this mirror, this reflection, and glaring into the camera. I think that could have been quite cool. I'm not sure, something like that. Maybe you tried some other stuff out. I'm just wondering, would it worked if she just stood square onto the camera and stared at you and just held it over her head? So she's like holding a piece of the field in the sky. I think it's a great idea. I strongly recommend any of you to go and play with that idea. And I'm quite up for going and playing with this idea myself somewhere. Nice one, Tom. I don't know if you're with us, but nice one. Oh, I kind of like this one too. I like this, a bit of night work. This is really corner of the street again, isn't it? And I love that very, very deep blue owl look. There's still just a hint of detail in the shadows. This is late night shopping at its best, isn't it? This is the heart of neighborhood retailing. I like it. I like it, and I don't mind the distortion from the wide lens, you know, the convergence. I just think it kind of adds something to the mood or the feeling or the atmosphere. For me, there is just one thing that's missing. See if you can guess what it is. You've heard me babble on for a long time if you've been around this for a while. Christine, it's not so much that it's, I get what you're saying, wonky, but it's converging. Wide angle lenses as you look up at something. So you were pretty close when you shot this, weren't you, Rob? And it's like you're looking up and that causes the convergence. I don't mind it. I think it's great. It's missing Arkwright. Indeed, a person. A motorbike, says Glyn. Everything's missing a motorbike. You can't have too many. Yeah, I just feel it's a little decisive moment thing. If someone could have just been walking out of the door of the shop or going in, something like that, because we've got that lovely bright area. And I just feel it needs something to be framed around that doorway just to give it a little bit more punch. This is a late night shopping. But that's all. Jane just said, maybe the ducks are in the shop. Enough with the ducks. I kind of like this one. Good little bit of, you know, home photography stuff going on here. Corners, it's so simple. It's just light and shade, isn't it? But it does work. It does work. Well done, Steve. It's a nice, easy, simple kind of a shot. I'm not going to read your comments now because you're making me laugh. And it's just so simple, isn't it? I don't know if you shot this in black and white or whether it's in colour, but it's just there's no colour in it. But either way, it's a really simple little bit of layers. We know what we're looking at, and it's just easy to look at. I did have a wonder as to whether or not a bit more space around the corner would help. I don't think it would. I did have a little play, you know, just sort of going like this and imagining. What could have been done to improve it? I think it could possibly have been a little bit darker. It is very bright. I just think dropping the exposure just a hint. I'm not sure there's much more I can say on that one, but it is a very pleasing and easy to look at image, Steve. Good one. Nice little abstract indeed. Oh, here's an interesting one, because I found this really eye-catching, Patsy. I like the lines. It's the lines. We've got these lines in the flower bed, all these converging lines coming in like this. We got, you know, I just liked it. And now I can also see there's a little bit of fence railing or something going on in the bottom left hand corner, which is kind of annoying for you, isn't it? And the sky's kind of clear and white. It's one of those that the only advice I could give you, because you haven't done anything wrong, but I just wonder what it would look like at a different time of day, whether it's worth going back there and having a little play with it. and just see what happens. Is there a way you could move very, very slightly and just lose those railings, or maybe you could experiment and come back a bit and include them? I don't know, just have that sort of symmetry of those little arches in the corner interrupting the symmetry of the whole picture. I think the biggest problem is that bright white sky. It's just a little bit overpowering, and it takes us away from those really interesting converging lines, which I think are pretty good. So that's cool. I'm just looking at some comments here. Yeah, we're good. I saw somebody just say they're getting a fuzzy feed. We're all good here. I've got a killer death connection, and my little green light is showing everything's peachy dandy. So sorry if something's going wrong for anyone. Dan, I like your idea, and I like the fact that it's black and white too. I think our problem is your subject is being absolutely dominated to hell by the help point and that, I don't know, it's a parking ticket machine, something like that, which is a shame, because it's a nice little idea, but it's your subject is completely lost. How could we have made that work? To be honest with you, I just don't think it really quite works there. There's too much busyness going on. Nice idea. Give it another go. Maybe try it someplace else and see what happens. Yeah, exactly, Jules. A different corner, I think. Leading lines were, yeah, they kind of help. To be honest with you, I found the leading lines sort of took me to the help point and the parking machine rather than the girl. I sort of went, okay, parking machine, help point, what's going on here? Oh, there's a girl with a camera. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not sure it's the right corner. That's about all. Now, here's a lovely little thing here, Nancy. I do like this, Nancy. Little trio of snails having a little huddle in the corner of a branch. I think you got some nice light. I don't know what else to say about it. The reason I'm kind of showing you some of these is because there are sometimes there's pictures there's not a great deal to say. The light's a little bit hard. I like the simplicity of the blue behind. It's a bit difficult because there are the two, you know, branches, but obviously you can't just go and snap one off because you'll probably have all the snails fall off, and they won't thank you for that. All the cups would fall off the sideboards in their little homes. But it's a nice idea. It's a nice effort. I think the main thing could be trying it at a slightly different time of day. The sun's very high in the sky, and I think if it was coming from the side, it was a bit more gentle. It would help quite a lot, but it's pretty good. Nice effort. Here's another quite nice effort here. What do you think, guys? Because I like the patterns. I like the way it's been executed on all the little cornery bits here that Dennis has come up with. What do you think? This is a question for you. What do you think would have just brought it to life quite a lot? Pop a comment in there, because it is really good, and I just think there's one thing it needs just to bring it to life a little more. What do you think it is? We'll see if it matches with mine. I'm not going to say until you've said. You've got to go first. Interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of more in your camp here, Dolores. Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of people saying more light. I don't think it's so much more light as different light. I think we need light coming at an angle, because there are very, very few shadows, and I think all those little shapes would have just popped and woken up if the light was coming from maybe in front, or probably from the right side. Sorry, I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? This side, so that you know, the light's coming down across, and it's putting little shadowy corners into each one of those corners, and I think then it would have been very strong indeed. But it is a fun image. Nick Humphrey, go and stand in the corner this minute. Wendy. Oh, sorry, I misclicked. Here we go, Wendy McDermott. Again, it's another peepee round the corner thing, and it's a kind of nice idea. Which bit, guys, just overall, do you think is distracting, that's taking us away from our main subject? There's a few things going on in the background, but there's one in particular which is really kind of dominating your subject. Interesting. Head in the hedge. Mary Sue, you're mad. Interesting. Now you see, isn't it weird how everyone sees something different? Because so far, okay, a couple of you are now just mentioning the thing which I find is taking me away from the subject. So lots of you have said the tree, apart from the person peeping through the bushes. No, for me it's the sky. The sky is just so strong, it's so bright. I'm kind of going, oh, bright, because our eyes tend to go to the brightest area. Okay, so it's the top of our fellow's head here, but that's not so much the problem. It's this very big, very bright area in the top right corner which is kind of dominating, and it's a shame. The other thing which I think could have helped here, if you'd used a much longer lens, if you could have moved back quite a bit and zoomed that lens in, you could have had a similar composition. And if you could have got a little higher, you could have put him against the darkness on the other side of the field, you know, the greenery, the trees and things. That would have lost most of that bright sky, if not all of it, if you could have found the right angle, if you could have raised yourself up a bit, moved further away, zoom that lens longer, use a wide aperture, boom, I think you could probably have lost all that bright sky. And then the light on his head actually would have worked. It's always difficult with a highlight on someone's head or face, because eyes and cameras see light completely differently. So you may not have even noticed that highlight on his head, and if you had, you'd still be able to see skin detail and everything. Cameras and eyes see light completely differently. It's, you know, when you put someone in front of a window, you can see them, you can see what's happening outside the window. You take a photo, you get a silhouette, or maybe you get you know, a burnt out person. An accurate person and a burnt out window. Yet your eyes can see both. Cameras and eyes see light differently. That's why post-production comes in, because then you can bring the two together so that it looks natural. It's not about fixing something that was broken. But yeah, a little bit more focal length, shallower depth of field, slightly higher angle. I reckon you could have lost the sky. But good idea, good effort. Here's a good effort from Nan Kelly. Hey Nan, how you doing? I like your idea. I think the light's rather nice. I think your problem is you needed to do a little bit of weeding. Simply because you've got a nice triangle in the corner and this line and that lovely smooth pebble which is just sort of disrupting those straight lines. For me, the problem is the grasses and the weeds growing in there. I think the light's quite nice. It's just about low enough. If it was a bit lower, it'd be nicer. But it's all those straggly bits of weedy grass going on around it. I think if it was cleaned up a bit, it would work a little bit better. I'm just having a look to see what some of you guys are saying. But it's a good one, Nan. Nice idea, no question. Yeah, I think it's cool. Let's move on. I think we got another one here where we could have had a little bit of something different, because you've got an amazing sky going on here, Roger. It is a very powerful sky. Now, someone who was around my place actually, who popped in when I was doing the judging, said, oh, it looks like it's had some stuff done in post-production. I don't know, it might have done, but you know, I've stood underneath skies or taken images of skies like this and got them into light and whatever and thought, I think I need to desaturate that, never mind try and pump it up, because sometimes you do get this glorious fire underneath the clouds, and I think you've got a fabulous sky going on. But I think what's bugging me and probably spoiling that sky is the fact that is where the tree is just kind of so cut to the corner. Now I'm not sure whether that's how you're trying to interpret the corner theme. Have you gone, wow, we've got an amazing sky here, I want to photograph it, I'm going to make this fit the corner theme, I'm going to find a way to make this interpret corners. But as a photograph, I think it needs some surroundings, it needs some of those trees, we need to know where it is. I have a suspicion, yeah, you saw an amazing sky and thought, I'm going to crop the tree and those trees in the corner and make it fit the theme, but sometimes you kind of can't force the dress onto the model, do you know what I mean? I'm completely open for interpreting the theme however you like. And yeah, you thought creatively, but I'm really sorry, Roger, doesn't quite work. Good effort, must try harder. What do we got here? Oh, I like this. I like this one a lot. Sanikumar, sorry. It's just really moody and atmospheric, and I just love a human figure. I think you've got a nice composition. I think it's really well put together. It is indeed striking, Moose. I think it's great, but I think it needs a bit more punch, a bit more contrast. I did take the liberty of doing that to it. Let me just put this to a straight cut so it will jump a little bit quicker. So here we go. Here's the original, and I took the liberty of whacking it into Photoshop and just pumping up the contrast quite a bit, and I just think it made it more powerful because you've got a great idea, you've got a fabulous composition. And I just think a little bit of the camera work, you could probably do it in the camera, you don't have to do it in post-production. Cameras have pitch control settings where you can adjust the contrast and the saturation. I think if you kind of lifted the contrast and the saturation a little bit, boom, I think you'd have really nailed it beautifully. Good effort, really nice picture, Sunil Kumar. Congratulations, it is nice. We got another human figure here, a huge girt big one. Nice one, Michael. What was your thing here? The Angel of the North guarding my little corner of the world. Yeah, okay, loosely. But, you know, I'm not going to get hung up on how you interpret. I kind of get it. And the Angel of the North does guard that little corner of the world. Unfortunately, you know, we've all seen pictures of the Angel of the North, and some of them are stunning. I think the problem here is we're a little bit too tight on the angel, and the light isn't working for you, my friend. And I'm not entirely sure that the foliage in the foreground is. It feels a little bit, forgive me, like you kind of thought, I need a bit of foreground here to try and wake it up. I don't think it was the foreground that was the problem, it was the light. We got that very, very bright sky. Maybe an evening shot. Maybe a little bit of something, you know, to blow the light across it. I know some of the most amazing pictures I've seen of the Angel of the North, and I'd like to go there because I've never actually been there in person. Have been, you know, later in the day or earlier in the day, but also seeing a little bit of what's going around. I think to interpret this as protecting my little corner of the world, I think we need to see some more of your corner of the world rather than just Angel of the North, so that the picture tells a bit more of a story. I'm probably saying like I'm being a bit harsh here, Michael, but I'm just coaching you on what I think might have helped. That's about all. Yeah, overcast sky is not great for this sort of shot. You're absolutely right, Jim. Yeah, you're right, Jonathan. It doesn't look very big because this thing's a whopping big thing, isn't it? It's enormous. If you're not in the UK, this thing's a gigantic thing. I don't know how tall it is. If somebody knows in meters, post it up for our non-UK friends. Yeah. Let's move on to, oh look, there's things about this I so like. June? As I said before, my eyes are old and bent. I can see it better here. Joan, apologies. This is all part of the fun, isn't it? You never know what I'm going to call you. There's things here I really like, Joan. And there's things here that don't quite work. And you know it. There's the light inside that little covered area. What do they call it? An arbor or something like that. It's really beautiful on those cushions, and it kind of makes you want to go and sit there. I also get that it's a rainy day, which I did see when I looked at the comments later. I think the tree in the foreground's probably a little bit strong, and you could have got away with doing a little bit more of a crop, a bit like, you know, our friend did with the sunset, to sort of lose a bit of it. But I'm getting the corner thing because the light is telling us it's like sitting in the corner of that little space. I like the way the trees seem to be a little bit movie. I think it's the light that's coming through, but that light is just too strong. Yeah, maybe try, I don't know what you can do with it. These things are hard. Sometimes you have a great idea and parts of it work and parts don't. And sometimes there just isn't really a shot there to do it. But I think I read in your comments you said it chucked it down with rain, and you were going to give it a go at another time because you're doing the 7 building blocks, aren't you? So that's exactly what the 7 building blocks is about, is thinking about these things and looking at things, asking powerful questions, and then coming back and trying again another day. I'm really interested to see, or I would be interested to see what you come up with. But the light underneath, undoubtedly, where the cushions are, I want to go sit there. I almost want to go and sit there in the pouring rain because I just think it's fun watching all the rain. There's something cozy and nice about that. Calling out for a bottle of wine and a good book. Yeah, I think you're probably right, you tea lady. But yeah, that bright sky is just kind of overpowering us a little bit. Oh, really nice, simple abstract here. Let me just see if I can make this a little bit bigger on my screen. I might be able to read names more easily. No, I can't. Sorry. Salmon Chaff. It's so simple, isn't it? And it's kind of like one of those Isha drawings to me. Tell me, guys, do you get the feeling you don't know whether it's going in or popping out? Do you get a poppy in, poppy out thing going on when you look at this? Just pop it in the comments. I'm really intrigued. A Neapolitan wafer. Ice cream, Jenny. Yeah, I hadn't got it. As soon as I saw you say that, yes, I get it. They're ice cream colours, aren't they? But it's also doing that poppy inny outy thing. Is it coming towards me or is it going away from me? I don't know. It is a really powerful corner. And it's just great. I think if you're here, I'd love to know what you painted. Is it yeah, paint samples up in the corner of a room or something like that, as Alec just suggested. I don't know, Steve, is this even a photograph? Again, I'm not sure. I have a feeling that it might be, because when you look really closely at those corners, it looks to me like it's you know, where walls meet and like they've been painted different colours. I don't know, I could be wrong. But nonetheless, I absolutely get corner out of this, because it's doing that. It really is a corner. Whatever way you look at it, it's very, very clever. I'm sorry you're not further up the list, but great effort. I don't really know what to say, how it could be improved. I think maybe part of it is because I'm struggling to get my head round it. Maybe I should have gone braver and just put you into the points, but nonetheless, great effort, great effort. Jules is saying it may be a little bit too bright. Depends on the angle you look. That's interesting. Yeah, you're right. I hadn't tried that. Yeah, you're right. That is absolutely right, Ian. Yeah. Try this, guys. Make everyone else in your household stare at you. Just do this, side to side, because it does. Right, it's sort of, it's an outie here, you know, like the mini outie navel things. It's a bit of an outie here. And when I do that, I think I don't know, it just keeps, it's very intriguing. Very intriguing. We must move on. Great attempt, great shot. And I love shots like this too, Joanna. I really do. And I get it. A bunch of guys sitting in the corner of the pub garden. You've got some brilliant light going on. They look like motorcyclists, and you all know I can't stand them. But you've got some beautiful light. Unlike the black and white, it kind of brings together the guys. What's missing for me is a little bit of life between them. That's all. This is such a great picture. I'm kind of pushing you hard. Forgive me, Joanna. I just feel it needs a little bit of life. It's so beautifully executed technically that I am being your coach and I'm bullying you, because I think if you could have just held that shot composed and waited, and just waited and watched. Waited for a little moment when, I don't know, one looked at the other, a bit of raucous laughter or something. I don't know, maybe, you know, gone like, hey guys, smile, I don't know, but I'd have waited first, not interfered at the beginning, because you don't know, you might totally destroy the feeling. But technically, beautifully done, great choice for black and white. I just feel it needs a little bit of a decisive moment going on there. Yeah, you're right. Christine was just saying a little bit of light on the left-hand face. I don't really mind that too much, because, you know, his face is in shade underneath the hat. Again, it's a decisive moment thing. Maybe if he lifted his face up a little bit and had turned it, you'd get a little bit more light. Maybe if there was a moment going on between the two other guys, it wouldn't matter, because then the shade would be shading his face a bit, and then it'd be really understandable. You wouldn't have a conflict of interest between his face and the other two. These are all those weird ingredients that buzz around within photography. You know, cameras don't take pictures, you take pictures. And these are all these sort of weird things to watch. Photography happens a few inches behind the camera. It's just your paintbrush, it's just your tools. Sure, you've got to know how to drive it, how to work it, how to make the knobs and dials work, how to make it do your bidding. And you have done it perfectly here, Joanna. If you're struggling with your camera, you know what I'm going to say. Go take a look at my Ultimate Beginner's course. It's very badly named because it is far more. In fact, we were talking last night of should we rename it because it's everything you need to know about the camera end of photography to master that and get going strongly with light and composition. It's a foundation. Let's have a little look here at, I'm sorry, I just can't see it. I'm gonna have to wait till it comes up here. Manju, again, I think you've got a great idea and you've got some really nice light. My problem is the position of the eye. Yeah, I get it. You've got someone looking around the corner. I get your interpretation here. But it's kind of weird because we've got this big bright white triangle in the corner of her eye. I don't know what any of you guys think. Yeah, I agree with you, Jenny. Beautiful eyelash shadows. But it's just that eyes looking away, those two white eyes. I think if you maybe could have achieved a similar effect with the eyes coming towards the camera and turning the face a bit. I don't really know. It would take experimentation. All I can do is tell you what's wrong with it and the wrong with it in my opinion, remember, and suggest some things which might have worked. Possibly bringing the eyes the other way, I think, would have helped. I think it would have helped. Joe, forgive me, I can't remember which one was your shot. It was taken from a distance using a zoom. Oh, I don't want to go skimming all the way back. Forgive me, Joe. I'm sorry, I have a head like a sieve. Which one was yours? Oh, here we go. The bikers in the pub, wasn't it? Yes. It was taken from a distance using a zoom. Okay, got it. Hold the shot. Hold the shot. Just wait. You've got the composition there. You've got the light. You've got everything ready to rock. You just got to wait for that little moment. Just, you know, I know it takes a little bit of courage. You're holding the camera on someone. I think it'd be interesting to see what you think of the second part of the next challenge video about photographing in public. Have a look at that. Because it's amazing if you actually stand somewhere in public and just kind of own the scene. Don't be self-conscious. It's amazing how nobody really takes any notice of you at all. Stuart, I really liked this one. Great shots, both of you though. Stuart, I like this idea, and I think you've got a lovely stacky uppy thing going on here. Very obvious corner. The sky's a bit bright, but in this case it kind of works. Had you got lots of sky detail and, you know, blue and white and clouds and stuff, I don't think it would. I think it would distract from those textures and shapes. But I do think having the very point of the corner hard against the edge of the frame doesn't quite work. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. What do you think, guys? Does it accentuate the corner or not? I'm just intrigued to see what you think. I think it just needs a little bit of breathing space, that's all. Okay, Dolores was there already. Yeah, I love this type of image too, Christine. Totally. Yeah, Moose likes it as it is. Again, this is the great thing. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. And that's why you should never worry if someone likes your picture or not. If you like it, you are the only person that matters. Here's one that I liked. Hervé. I don't know if I'm saying a name right, and it's so difficult because we can't communicate. But I like it. You're taking us on a little journey, and we've got so many round the corners going on here. Do we need the first bit of corner on the right? I question that, because the stairs are taking us around the corners so beautifully. I'm not sure you needed the stonework on the right. but it's beautiful light, and it's well put together. And the only reason I kind of wanted to bring this one is I just think the stonework on the right is just a little bit too dominant, just that oblong. Whereas I think had we not got it, and I should have done a Photoshop job on this for you, I think had we not got that, we'd just gone to the left a bit, I think the tunnel would have taken us, and that beautiful light on the stairs would have sort of drawn us down. If maybe you could have got a little moment, waited there for a while just to see what happened, maybe someone might have come up or come down, or I don't know, it'd been great if a child was sitting there, you know, just sort of staring at you, throwing stuff at you. I don't know. Good effort. This is a really beautiful, soft, gentle, pastel-y sort of a shot, Jamie, and there's so much about it that I like. And the little path taking us off around the corner. That gentle mist is so beautiful. That is such beautiful, soft, light, early morning something. That's what I'm feeling when I look at it. It's a little bit of enchanted forest, isn't it? But I know the path is taking us somewhere, but then I want somewhere to land. Jamie, it was early, good. Yeah, good on you for getting out, and it's a beautiful capture, technically perfect, everything bang on. I just feel the path needs to take us somewhere a little more. Unless it was a very, very heavy bank of fog, maybe the path disappearing into the mist. I don't know, something's not quite there. I just feel it needs something. A rhinoceros standing in the path. I'm sure you could organise that. But it is a beautiful shot nonetheless. I almost think if you took it away from the corner theme and just shot across the bracken with those beautiful colours and into the trees, then I think it would almost work better without the path. I get it, it wouldn't fit the theme. All those things that collide and tumble around in the creating of pictures. Michael Ranger said Piglet and Pooh. Yeah, good point. I totally get it. What about a wild biker? Yes, indeed. How about a wild boar? That would be good, wouldn't it? If you had a wild boar thundering along the path towards you, you'd get a few frames off before you had to run. But it's a really beautiful, gentle image, and I hope you did a couple off the path just in the bracken without it, because I just feel it would work more. It would be one of those gazy at, lost in the cool of the morning and the mist and the smells. I bet it smelled. Well, I can almost smell this picture. Good effort, great stuff. Where are we? Diane, Carol, you got a good idea. Unfortunately, it's kind of lost. I get it. A little boat coming around the corner. But I think we need a little bit more boat to be able to get it that there's a boat there. The reflections are kind of nice, but it's kind of like there's a white thing, but we're not quite sure what it is. Forgive me for being harsh, but I hope I'm helping. Jim Graves said the last shot needed a deer. You're right. I've tried to photograph deer here in the New Forest. Boy, is that hard. Okay, I see what you're saying, Jane. You thought the reflection was making a corner. Yeah, I kind of get it. I think that the white bit of the boat, we need more boat to understand what's happening. Maybe tilt the camera down just a fraction too, just to lose a couple of those little highlights in the sky. But it's a nice idea. The other thing we got here is kind of rather flat light. And that is, funny enough, Claire's just said it. The flat light is making it just a little bit confusing, because I think if we'd had some sunshine, it would have made the reflection much more powerful. Had we had a little bit more of the bow of the boat coming around the corner and we had a strong reflection of it, I think it would have then kind of told us what was going on. But good effort, Diane, and you know, I hope you get it. It needs deer, it needs a duck in it apparently. This kind of shot I really like, Angela Gledhill. I've always liked shots like this. I know they're kind of messy, but I'm kind of messy. It's little snippets of life. I love this. I think it's a woman on the right there, just looking over her shoulder outside the general store on the corner. It's just, I think it's a cracking picture. I like the gentleness of the colours and the little bit of car moving past. I'm not sure if we need quite so much of the road in front, you know, with the yellow lines there, but it is a great thing. But unfortunately, it looks to me like it's not quite sharp. I think the stories maybe your shutter speed was very slow, maybe your aperture was very small to try and capture that bit of movement of the car. If you're here, Angela, we'd love to hear. To capture some movement, but I feel the people either need to be blurred more or to be sharp. I'm not quite sure which, but I still kind of like it. I do. I really do kind of like it. Oh, here's a nice idea. My dad used to have a suitcase just like this with all them labels on it. Valerie, it's a nice idea. I get where you're going, how you interpreted it. 4 corners of the world, yeah. My dad, funny enough, used to kind of call his suitcase that. I think it would work too, but having it up against the wall and just kind of like a bit of it, I'm not sure it works. If you could have maybe got it away from the wall, somehow separated it from its background, it could have worked a lot better. The light's fine, you technically exposure, all that stuff, yeah, obviously it's bang on. But I think we need to sort of really see the subject and make it pop in the picture, which may have helped if we'd had a little bit of space around it. To me, I think that would have really helped. Maybe a bit of negative space against that white. So it's really clear we've got a suitcase covered in labels. This is kind of like the 4 corners of the earth. I think we're in a little bit too close, just a little bit too tight. But it's a great idea. Really nice shot. And that, my friends, brings us to our PLD Corner shortlist shout-outs. These are the amazing pictures which I sadly had to evict from my winners folder. When I do the judging, if you're fairly new to PLD, I screen capture anything that captures my eye, put them all into one folder. I then go, these are ones I can talk about, you know, things that people might benefit from hearing. These are ones that I just totally love, and from those I've got to choose the winners, and I have to take some out of that winner folder, and they are my shortlist shout-outs because you were in my shortlist. So let's move on. What's this? Valerie saying thanks. It was my grandfather's. Fantastic. What a brilliant thing. Can you imagine the problems you'd have these days if you had a suitcase with all your travel labels on it? They wouldn't know which one to scan, would they? Never mind. Here we go. Shortlist shout-outs. Ken. I just like it. It's just strong, isn't it? I mean, that's not a corner. That's a corner! It's really strong. It's really strong. Super contrasty. Black and white. It is eye-catching. And the way you've shot it with such a wide angle lens coming in so close has made those lines go off boom, down either street. It really is. The fact you've got City Hall on the left, it takes you down to the street on the left rather than the one on the right. But nonetheless, it's the fact you shot it with such a short wide angle lens. That is what made it work. The way you've positioned those lines within the frame, it takes you down either one of these 2 streets. You've got a choice to make when you look at this shot. Guys, if some of you aren't quite sure what I'm on about, this is what I meant about focal length and composition are best friends. They dance and hold hands together. They love each other. By choosing an appropriate focal length, you can put a total mood into a shot. This would look so different if it was taken with, say, an ordinary 50mm or something like that. Shooting it with a wide focal length, the distortion of that focal length has caused it to bow a bit in the middle, and it's given a massive tapering off down the sides, and that's what's created this feeling. If you haven't joined me on a focal length explained webinar, there aren't any scheduled right this minute, but there will be soon. Please come, because this is we spent a whole hour and a half just exploring how you can use that. But yeah, make distortion work for you, not against you. Indeed, Jim, you are so right. These are all things, you know, when you see stuff, people talking in forums and all the rest of it, and experts, you know, they're saying things like, you know, you must use a wide angle for this and you must use one for that. And oh, this shot's got distortion in it, you know, no, distortion, no. Tell them to blow it out their ass, because it's nonsense. When you know that a wide angle lens distorts, the next thing you do is you go, how can I use that? How can I make pictures eye-catching by using the distortion of a wide angle lens? How can I make the voyeuristic feel of the long, narrow field of view of a long lens? How can I use that? How can I utilize it to isolate from my surroundings and subject? These are all really cool things within photography. It's not just shutter, aperture, ISO, white balance, and a whole lot of other guff that they fill cameras up with. Now, much of that guff is useful, don't get me wrong, and they're very clever bits of technology, but there is too much choice. There is too much faffing, and everybody gets lost in this faff. Doesn't need to be done. I'm on my soapbox. I will move on. Great shot there, Ken. George, again. You're a very creative gentleman, George. You come up with such simple, cool ideas. And I'm also loving the fact that, you know, you're still doing a lot of photography within the home environment. You know, it just goes to show, guys, you do not need to go to somewhere exotic to take eye-catching, interesting shots. You know, what a great interpretation of the theme. Corner. And it's just creatively and artistically done. It is so simple. It's great. Nice one, George. Now, oh yes, I think there's a couple of you guys this week have possibly been to the Tory Hunter School of Photography and have decided to try and frighten people. I really like this, Phil. This is, to me, this is Metallica's Sandman. That's what I hear playing in my head when I look at this. I really hear it. It's a song about monsters under your bed, a little child going to sleep, you know, and he's scared of the monsters under the bed. That's what Sandman, that's the story of it. Go and listen to it, go and Google it. It's a bit heavy metal, but this is what I hear when I look at it, and I just think it is such a cool picture, Phil. You know, putting the shadows of the monsters at the top of the stairs. You know, I am that little child sneaking up the stairs and I don't want to go to bed because I don't want to have the monsters to deal with. What do you mean, Glyn, you can't stand Metallica? Goodness sake, man. Anyway, I think it's great. I think it's great, but that's what I hear playing in my head when I look at this. Fantastic, nice one, Phil. The standard is just so high here, and what I was saying earlier when we began, this is what is giving me such a buzz. I'm watching names moving up through, you know, where you're practicing and doing the challenges. You're making such a difference all the way through. Stephen Swan, look at that. Isn't that just a great little bit of creativity, just playing with, you know, light and glass. I don't know what sort of glass that is. Is it a paperweight? I don't know what it is. Is it a stand? Is it a... It doesn't really matter. It's just kind of eye-catching. It's just kind of eye-catching, and I really do like it. Yeah, it's great. It's great. I don't know what to say. I can't say anything more with this one. It's just a really great abstract. Oh, here we go. Sharon. You're another one who's been to the Tory Hunter School of Photography. You're trying to frighten us all. Again, it's kind of creepy, isn't it? But it's really great. Peeping round the corner into the room, looking into the room. You've done it so well. That beautiful backlight over the hand. We sort of get it. The hand opening the door. And there's a caution. For me, in this shot, I get the feeling of caution. Guys, pop it in. Just what do you think? Do you get a caution with it? How do you feel when you look at this? I mustn't put ideas into your head. I get carried away and start blabbing. But the light is just so beautiful, you know. It really is just so beautiful. Diogo says it's your favourite of the whole bunch. Yeah, it really is great. Luca, I totally agree. All of these shots we're looking at now, everything in the shortlist shout-outs was a finalist, but I can only have 5 runners-up and 1 winner. I gotta kill my children, and it hurts. No, fantastic. I think it's a really great shot. I really do. I just love the feeling. There's a cautious feeling here. It's like opening the door, but with caution. That's the feeling I get. It's the caution part. This is what I mean, guys. When I say, how do you feel when you look at it? Examine that. And I'm being serious now. I know I'm fooled around a lot, but I am being serious there. Examine that. When you look at a picture, how does it make you feel? Sit with it. Look inside. How does it make you feel? Because when you can connect to that and then look at how the photographers have achieved it, you learn something. And then you can take what they've achieved and apply it somewhere else. This is how we grow our creativity. This is how you do it. Oh, this is just such a great interpretation of corners, Monica. And I can see from the number of likes, so many agree. So you'll all be throwing rotten veg at me. It's just a great shot. I love the direction, that forceful direction. What could be more corner than that? And the thing that really makes it work is the light. You've got beautiful light going on there. That strong frame in the lower right corner, you know, and it kind of takes us back. Things are going in two directions. We got a direction going in, bottom right to top left, and then we got another direction forcing us up and across. And it is a really great picture. I love it. I love the way it's been shot. I love the use of the light, because the light is absolutely making it pop. It's a really great shot. Nice one, Monica. I'm sorry you are where you are. And here's another from Linda Windsor. I just thought this was great. Now, I noticed in your comment you'd said the corner of the fins are sharp. Yeah, I get it, but when I saw this, what I saw was parked on the corner. That's what I felt. I'm not entirely sure it needed such a shallow depth field, but I get it. You were going with the corner of the fin. For myself, I was kind of more looking at this, you know, parked on the corner. I love the lens flare in the top. Again, you know, you hear all the pundits saying, oh, lens flare is bad, wicked and wrong. Do you know, there was someone who I was teaching when I used to teach in a college. She was doing a Royal Photographic Society submission and got slung out because there was a slightly burnt out highlight. And it was something like the highlight on the boot of that car. There was an awful lot of guff talked, even by the RPS, and I'm a huge fan of the RPS, trust me, I really am. But don't listen to them. I think it's a great shot. I get corner of the street. I don't know about you guys. Lens flare, it's just another tool. It isn't something to be avoided. Here we've got a wonderful bit of classic wildlife. These hurt when I'm taking these out, guys. Norrie, how could anyone not like that? An owl looking round the corner. You've got such great, moody, soft, directional light, and the owl facing into it. It's a really great shot. It's beautiful. It really is. What can I say? It's a beautiful wildlife shot. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I know when I looked at it earlier, I thought, is that quite sharp or not? I don't know, but you know, Facebook messes about with things when it compresses them, so it's sharp enough, who cares? It's a really great shot. Beautifully done, Norrie. I love your framing. I like the way, you know, the edge of the woodwork. We've got the corner so beautifully in the corner, and the owl in this case looking into the space. We were talking about that last week, weren't we? I think it's really great. Shadowy, moody evening. The owl's kind of like, right, let's go get some mice. Beautiful shot. Oh, Annette, you're doing it again. We've got so many corners going on here, and it's just that reflection, isn't it? It is just so cool. All those lines and corners just cramming you into that sunset. It is a very powerful shot, Annette. I don't know what else to say about it. I think, you know, it's just a beautiful shot. What is there to say? Great observation. Noticing how to use those lines and shapes and angles. How to use that reflection. If you're here, Annette, please tell me that's your house, because I want to come and visit. But yeah, it's a fabulous shot. It's a fabulous shot. Now, we were just talking about highlights, weren't we? And burning them out. Boom. Bulb Man Allen. I really love it. Really love it. Because it's a feeling thing again. Photography isn't just graphic representation. It isn't just, you know, here's an accurately taken picture of something. We're still talking about an art form. Okay, archival photography is a different thing. Product photography, but we're just talking about creative photography. And I just really like the guy coming out of the light. I love the strength of that handrail working its way up the stairs. and the fact you've been bold enough to just let those highlights blow. It reminds me of a wedding photograph I took quite a long time ago. I was shooting a wedding somewhere, and there was these huge French windows. There was just so much light billowing in through there, and yeah, I took a few shots very much like this with the couple who was during the ceremony. I was trying to find some because I thought I just wanted to show you how you can use this blown out background to such great effect as you have done here, Alan. I really like it. Really like it. Go try some stuff. 10 seconds up the stairs. You know what's so difficult? I'm guessing Bearer Clive is really Alan Baxter. I don't know. But it's really cool. Beautiful shot. Oh, this is so playful and fun. It really is gorgeous. I really love it. Stella, Sheila, Stella. I think it's a great shot. You've got such fabulous side lighting. Look at those wonderful shadows. The shadows are helping those figurines be so playful, and you know, it's just on, I don't know what it is, a little paper stacky desk unit thing or something. It's just fun, isn't it? It's just such fun. They're all hanging out and playing around on the corner of something. It is a fun picture, beautifully done. I've only got one very picky punch in the face kind of bit of coaching for you, and that is when you've got shiny black things, you've got to dust the crap out of them, because there are little bits of dust that are so noticeable in the reflection of the underneath, you know, right at the bottom in the right corner. It's such a small thing, but it's just one of those things. If you've done commercial photography for a while, you kind of start to notice those things, those little flicks of white dust. They're just so annoying. But what a beautifully executed picture. Please, I hope you don't mind me saying about the dust. Nice one, Stella. Colleen, what a fantastic decisive moment. Love it. The guy's coming out of his corner, and you've got power and action going on there. You know, the dust, you've got pretty strong light, but nonetheless it works. The stances of everybody, you've captured the perfect moment as this energy comes bursting out of its corner. I think it is a very strong and very powerful picture. Nice one, Colleen. And here's something which should be really confusing to look at, and I just find it a complete delight. George Baker. What do you think, guys? I mean, there's so many textures. It should be confusing, and it isn't. And the fact you shot it in black and white, you've got beautiful light putting all those textures there, and we got that so powerful corner, right, boom, pretty much in the middle of the steps taking us up there. It's one of those kind of very simple seaside shots, because I'm guessing it is at the seaside, that you can just look at. It's just powerful, it's strong, there's strength coming out of its sea defences. Beautifully done. It is unusual, Ian. It's really powerful. Beautiful, lovely graphic shapes, but again, perfect angles, perfect light to work with the subject. Light is all about being appropriate. It's finding the appropriate light for the subject, or the appropriate subject for the light. Depends which way around you're working. Black and white, in my opinion, was the exact way to go with this, because it just makes all those shapes and textures and those beautiful tones of grey. They just pop. And I love this one, Brian. It's just fun. I don't know what you were doing. You were doing something to make those kids shriek. That is not put on. That is not pretend. That is just a moment of absolute fun. It's just blooming marvellous. And I love it. What more can I say? It's a bold composition. The light is great. You know, we've got gentle sort of directional light. It's not fully diffuse, and yet it's not hard. We've got directional light, brings out the shapes of the kids' faces and the way they're shrieking with laughter. I kind of imagine you standing over the top there, composing your shot and just doing stupid things to make the kids laugh. I think it's a really great shot, wonderfully captured little moment there, and it's just full of fun. So we have now come to our PLD Corner Challenge runners up. We're getting there, guys, we're getting there. Who have we got here? Let's just move straight in there, because I thought this was a really, really clever interpretation of a corner from Graham Vulliamy. I'm not sure, forgive me, Graham. I just love the way you photographed a corner in a curve. That's just so eye-catchingly clever. Looking up that street, the way you have positioned yourself, is that a tower or something in the reflection? You put it right on the line where those panels meet, and it just adds emphasis and strength to it. I love the way you have made a corner into a curve. Beautifully spotted, beautifully seen, and beautifully executed. Runners up, by the way, of course, you've got places on webinars. You know, when we launch them, just all you got to do, go to the webinar page of my website. Let us know which ones you want to go on. As I say, the new one is coming up, but if that's not the one that takes your fancy at the moment, choose a different one. They will all be repeated very soon. I love it. Beautifully done, Graham. I just found myself gazing at this for ages. Exactly, Alec. It makes you look. Great light, very cleverly composed, very creatively spotted. We've got a very classical but beautifully done Milky Way night shot here. And to me, I kind of got, this is our little corner of the universe. I can see you kind of wrote, you know, no corners in space, but the old mill has got a few. I don't know, I was kind of getting it's like our little corner of the universe out in all that infinite sea of forever. I'm intrigued by that little bit of brightness behind the windmill. Is that just natural brightness in the sky? Is it something you've done? Doesn't matter, it works. I like the light coming onto the front of the windmill. Did you light paint this? If you're here, Nicholas, I'm really intrigued to know, did you light paint? Because it is so well done. Have we got a Milky Way shot followed in with a little bit of light painting? I don't know. But it's a great shot, and it works. Oh, Annette says he didn't light paint. It's an amazing shot. I'm really intrigued by it. Beautifully done. Here's another one of them fun pictures by Dahlia. It's another great little moment, isn't it? You're in the right place at the right time. Yeah, it's very much in the corner, but again, it's just a happy kind of childhood moment, and that's what I really loved about it. It was just fun. It is bouncy, it's fun, it's kids. I like the looking up, you know, the being up high. I just love it. What more can I say? I couldn't ignore it, and I just kept coming back to it. I think it's a really beautiful shot. Nice one, Dahlia. Yeah, I love the boy's face too, Christine. And I love the way you caught that moment just right. Were you shooting in burst mode? You know, because it'd been so easy to have had a rope right across his face. Is it one of those, you just got the decisive moment perfectly, or is it one of those, you know, because burst mode, nothing wrong with it. It's a fabulous tool. When you've got a child fooling around and playing, it's like bang a few frames out, because then you will catch that moment when he's just framed perfectly. It can be very hard to do it one click at a time. Beautifully done, Dahlia. And the next one in my runners up is such a simple shot, and it just shows you can take almost anything, and if you get the light right and the composition right and choose the right focal length, you can make something beautiful out of it. Stephen, I love it. I just love it. It's a very simple shape, and the light is beautiful. You chose a long focal length and a shallow depth of field. What you have photographed here is a beautiful little piece of light on a corner. It doesn't matter what the corner is. This is a photograph of a little piece of light. This isn't a photograph of a railing. I just think it is a really gorgeously simple picture. And this is what I mean. You can, well, you know, you PLDers who've been around for a while, when we were all doing it locked indoors, you know, look at the things you found shots of. Just a little piece of light on a railing, and it's a cracking picture. Beautifully done. Here is one which I also love. You know, I love a bit of light, and Christian Thompson. teenagers hanging out on the corner. And I think you've got another great decisive moment. I love the life that's going on between the boy in the foreground and the girl who's looking at him. You know, and the girls behind who are just kind of not really engaged, but those two in the foreground are. It's one of those corner of the street scenes that you see so often. It's a great little piece of street photography. Again, I like the fact it's in black and white. Very keen on black and white here. Yeah, I agree with you, Trish. It's a struggle. It takes a long time doing the judging. It takes me around 12 hours to do this properly. Trust me, it's not done quickly. It's probably about 6 or 7 hours of going back and forth, looking at pictures, choosing, thinking. And then there's, of course, all the other stuff like creating this Wirecast broadcast. I'll show you what my screen looks like, what you're looking at, what I have to build to do these when we're finished. But a beautiful shot, Anne Kristen. Congratulations to all our runners up. If you can, you know, the best thing is to ping Emma a message through the Facebook group, which webinar you would like to attend, and please, all winners, if you know, please add your photos to the winners album on our group page, and by all means just put in which one you won, because it's great to have all the winners in there. So here we go into PLD corner winner, and to me, I just kept coming back to this one over and over and over again. I just had to, because I thought it was just so creative, and it is our homicidal killer, Torrey Hunter. He didn't kill anyone this time, but it's just so powerful. Someone in the corner. I think I saw you did post another version that's on the page, and I was looking at how you did it because I puzzled over it for a long time. Okay, there's a little bit of Photoshop work gone on here, but nonetheless, look at the creativity in it. So those of you that are going, Photoshop's cheating, it's not photography. Well, Tori took the shots and brought the two together to create the look that she wanted, and I think she's done it very, very well. I don't have any problem with post-production work or creating something using Photoshop, but it's got to be done well, I think, and it's got to be done so that the viewer looks and pauses for a moment and goes, that's engaging and it's intriguing. Look how the light is coming in from behind the triangle and putting, I think that is Tori, I read. Tori, are you here? Did you say, are you here? I'm sorry, I should be looking at the comments just in case you are. You may have something you want to say. But yeah, if putting herself or the girl or whoever into that corner, into the shade, it's quite dark, it's quite moody, but there's no blood this time. And I kind of miss that, but I think it's just a beautifully done image, and I do hope all you guys agree. Oh, Glyn, I'm sorry. Don't sulk and don't worry about it. It doesn't mean that your pictures aren't good. It just means that I didn't choose you. But I think you'll find there are many, many people out of 3,100 people who participate in this. I think there's quite a few of you who haven't been chosen, so please do not be offended. It doesn't mean your photos are bad, it doesn't mean I don't like your photography. It's just the way that it is. Again, we will be setting up some mentor groups at some point in the future, the small mentor groups. I apologise they haven't been done. There have been various things hitting the fan in the last week or so that have absolutely demanded my attention. I apologise that I haven't been able to do anything more with it. But so here we are, we have come to the end of another PLD challenge, the PLD Corner Challenge. There is another challenge coming up. Guys, I want to ask you for your help just before you go, because what I'm seeing is our group is stagnating a little bit. You guys who are here tonight, and there are some regulars, and it's wonderful, but the thing is we need to grow a little bit. So I'm going to ask you for your help, please, in asking and inviting people you know to come and join in. But please ask the appropriate people. Don't just go to your friends list and invite everybody, because what happens then is we get a load of people coming, and most of them are not even interested in photography. There's a few little membership questions and they don't answer them, and then either I or Emma have to spend hours and hours and hours going through and sorting them out and removing them. So But I would really appreciate your help in inviting people you know who would join in, the sort of people who get stuck in, give it a go, people who genuinely want to exercise and grow their creativity. Also, of course, as always, if you can make a small, regular, monthly contribution, and many of you are, and I thank you for that, but we are a long way off covering the amount of time it takes to run PLD. I really love doing this, and I don't want to see it die. If you can make a small monthly contribution, please do so. There is a link below, and it just helps pay the costs of doing it all. Beyond that, I guess all I can say is you guys completely rock. We're going to put the next challenge live in a moment or two. It is 8:30. We're about an hour and a half. It's been a complete pleasure and a joy doing this. It's been absolutely brilliant. So I was about to tell you something, but that's not the right thing, because the next challenge hasn't got it. It's the one after. We're going to do something a little bit different. But anyway, be well, be happy. Please, as I say, invite your friends. If you're watching this and you haven't been entering, please enter, please join in, please interact. We don't want this to just sort of hit a place and stop. Let's just keep moving it forward, please, because that's what it's all about. Be well, have a fabulous 10 days of shooting the next challenge. I really look forward to seeing you next time. I will see you in the group. And once again, a pleasure talking to you. Best wishes to all. I'll see you soon.